Welcome to another Diecast model video, and today we are going to review this 1968 Corvette made by the Franklin Mint. Now, the Franklin Mint is an American company that specializes in so-called collectibles, so coins, figurines and model cars. As far as the model cars are concerned, they are very highly regarded, and for good reason. Their models are very detailed for the size. Now, some of their products are quite rare and quite expensive. And this one right here, not so much. Of all the Corvette models they make, this one is the most common. And because this one didn't have the original box and a few other blemishes here and there, I bought it fairly cheaply. I only paid about £12 on eBay for it. Now, as far as the size goes, these are advertised everywhere as 1/24 scale models. But that's simply not true. The model itself is not stamped with any number. But if you compare it to my true 1/24 scale Motormax 79 Corvette, you can clearly see that the 68 is smaller in just about every dimension. So I would say that the Franklin Mint model is probably around the 1/25-ish scale. That would seem to be accurate. But like I said, it's not stamped with any number. Now, the 68 Corvette was the first model year of this then new shape, third generation, the C3. And it was quite a departure from the previous models. It really looked like nothing else out there. And it still does. Now, of course, this is modeled after the big block version of the car. So it says 427 on the hood, which is the cubic capacity of the engine in cubic inches. So 427 cubic inches is about 7,000 cubic centimeters. So you have a 7-liter engine. Of course, they made this with small block engines as well, and those cars had a different type of bonnet with a much smaller bulge. Now, like I said, the model itself is very highly detailed for its size. So in effect, it's about as detailed as a 1/18 scale model in this 1/25 size. So you can clearly see it has all the small switchgear and knobs and levers, and they are chromed, and you have all the gauges. And of course, the steering wheel is very much like the real thing, with a wooden rim and then the chromed spokes. And the inside, the floors are carpeted. And the seats are made of some kind of soft rubbery material. It's not plastic. You have the sun visors integrated. Now, the model itself did not have the door mirror. It was broken off and it was missing. which is quite common on these models. So I replaced it with a 3D printed one that I bought on eBay. It's a plastic mirror. And I painted it silver. Now the original one would have been a die-cast metal mirror that was, I think, rectangular in shape. But this one works pretty well. I mean, if you don't know, you can't really tell the difference. There's the chromed sills. Chromed wheels. And the tires having the white sidewalls, as it was common on American cars at the time. You have the front and rear side markers, which are a separate piece with plastic lenses in them. Again, not something you would generally see at this scale. And then of course the same is true of the rear. You even have the reversing lights molded in. Well, not molded in, actually glued in as a separate piece. Fog lights and everything. The steering is functional to a certain degree. And again, under the bonnet, you have very, very good detail. Not just for the size, but in excellent detail in general. And as you can see, the model is made just like the real thing. So every component under the bonnet is a simulation of the real thing. You can see the floor underneath the car beside the engine. So there are more small individual pieces rather than one big molding. You can clearly see the slanted radiator. And of course the 7-liter big block V8 with quite a few functional components visible. So this is where the Franklin Mint really earn their reputation. They make these models like literally no one else. Now this model was made in 1989. Franklin Mint Precision models, they stamped it. But like I said, there's no scale stamping on it, so you would have to guess the scale. Again, very good detail underneath, with all of the suspension components, at least simulated. Like you even have the anti-roll bar, the steering arms with the steering damper built in like it was common at the time. All of the transmission components, the drive shaft, the entire exhaust, just like it would be on the real thing. detailed down to the smallest clamp. So yeah, these Franklin Mint models really are different. Another thing, you do have a separate chassis. Now the real car is a fiberglass body bolted to a metal frame. And here Franklin Mint actually recreated that metal frame, which I've never seen before on a diecast model. And of course the floor pan is a plastic floor. Now because of all these details, the model is really heavy. I mean, it's almost twice as heavy as anything of this size made by other manufacturers. Now, like I said, one of the reasons why this particular model was so cheap is because it didn't have its original box. Because one thing I learned since I'm buying these model cars is that so-called collectors, they don't actually collect model cars. They collect cardboard boxes. Now I opened up my 79 Motor Max model here just so you can see how much better the Franklin Mint is detailed. On the Motor Max model you just literally have a few molded in plastic bits and pieces and that's it. Whereas on the Franklin Mint, the engine base looks like it was actually built from individual components, just like a real car would be. And then the underside, well, that speaks for itself. (1968) Corvette C3, made by the Franklin Mint. It is indeed a very nice model. It's just a shame that they're not making them at a very specific scale, or at least they're not disclosing the scale at which it's made. But other than that, truly special. Thanks for watching.